This student was a real troublemaker. The teacher asked him to read a sentence in English, but he actually invented his own language and read it aloud. The teacher was furious. She had never taught a student as bad as him. She sent him to stand in the corner. During a math test, on a simple question like, "What is 3 times 9?" he chose a bizarre solution. He imagined that the two numbers were planets and he was the leader of the universe. He said he was in charge of moving the 3rd planet to meet the 9th planet. Then, when the 3rd planet hit the 9th planet and destroyed it, he came up with the answer. 3 times 9 equals 3. The boy was confident he would get a 100 on his test. When his classmates asked how he did, he said smugly, "The questions were really easy." But in the end, he got a 0. When it was time to show the test to his parents for a signature, he was terrified of being scolded. So he came up with an idea. He called 2 dogs and let them eat the paper. When he got home, he told his parents, "The dogs ate my paper on the way home." They didn't believe him and beat him. The boy's name was Ishaan. One day, he picked up a classmate's ball and threw it outside the school. The classmate was so angry that he put Ishaan in a chokehold. When Ishaan got home, his classmate's parents came to demand compensation. Ishaan's father didn't even ask what had happened. He immediately slapped Ishaan across the face. Ishaan's behavior was terrible. He was described by teachers and parents alike as the worst kind of child. The teacher told his parents that Ishaan had 0s in all subjects. The principal even said the boy must be mentally challenged, especially compared to his brother, who was the top student in the school. Ishaan, on the other hand, was in 3rd grade and had already failed twice. He even made his brother fake a sick note and skip class so they could go out and play. The principal wanted Ishaan expelled. His father was furious. No matter how bad his son was at school, he couldn't be mentally ill, just spoiled. So he called a friend and transferred Ishaan to a strict boarding school, hoping it would change his son's behavior. This was the strictest boarding school in history. Any student who misbehaved would be reduced to sheep's clothing. Ishaan had never left home before. He watched his parents' car drive away as tears streamed down his face. He felt abandoned. His mother and brother didn't want to leave him, but they had no choice. What his parents didn't know was that Ishaan wasn't good at math or language, but he was a genius at art. He didn't need instructions to finish a 10,000-piece puzzle. He could assemble it quickly and accurately. Once, he saw a child eating a lollipop. When he got home, he painted it using yellow and red watercolors, creating a beautiful gradient. Before leaving home, Ishaan drew a picture of a hand gradually letting go, a symbol of his separation from his family. But his talent was unknown to everyone. He could only hide his sadness deep inside. Late at night, when no one was around, he would cry quietly in the bathroom and then wash his red eyes so no one would notice. Without his parents' protection, Ishaan became cautious in class. One day, the teacher asked, "Do you think this boy is a genius or an idiot?" When Ishaan was asked to explain a poem, he said, "What we see and feel is the truth, and what we cannot see or feel is falsehood." The teacher was furious. Though Ishaan's answer was actually correct, the teacher dismissed him as a problem student. In art class, Ishaan was often distracted. The art teacher threw a piece of chalk at him to wake him up, then made him extend his hand and hit it 5 times. Ishaan's hand swelled painfully, and tears filled his eyes. But he didn't cry out, because here, no one could protect him. Crying only made him a laughingstock among his classmates and teachers. He wiped his tears and continued his lesson. Ishaan was very unusual. In English class, the words seemed to dance on the page. In math class, the numbers disappeared. His grades didn't improve. Instead, he became silent and irritable. One day, he threw all his books in the trash and tossed his school bag out the window. In his imagination, all the letters and numbers turned into spiders crawling toward him. Terrified, he slapped them to death. The teachers called him the King of Stupidity. But everything changed when a new art teacher arrived. His name was Ram. He made a memorable first impression. Dressed as a clown, he jumped, sang, danced, and played the flute, earning loud applause from the students. Ram's teaching style was unlike anything they'd seen. On his first day, he told the students they could draw whatever they wanted. But Ishaan's paper remained blank. Ram soon learned that Ishaan was constantly punished by other teachers. When Ishaan saw Ram, he trembled with fear. Ram noticed something special about him and decided to visit his home. At Ishaan's home, Ram looked through his old exercise books and found one missing drawing. When he finally saw it, he was stunned. The drawing showed soldiers digging a tunnel from the front and escaping through it from the back. "Even adults wouldn't think of this," Ram said in amazement. Ram told Ishaan's parents, "Your son isn't an idiot, he's a genius in art." But Ishaan's father scoffed, "What's the use of drawing?" Ram opened Ishaan's English notebook and showed that Ishaan wrote B instead of D and vice versa. "This isn't stupidity," Ram explained. "This is dyslexia. He can't coordinate his visual and auditory information properly." Ishaan's father disagreed. "He just doesn't like studying," he said. Ram then picked up a toy box with Japanese writing and asked him to read it. The father said angrily, "I don't know Japanese," Ram replied. "Exactly. You're too arrogant. You don't understand your son or what he's going through. Yet you blame him," Ram continued. "This is what Ishaan deals with every day. He can't recognize letters properly, and his confidence has been destroyed. His rebellion is just his way of hiding his pain." Now Ishaan's rebellion had disappeared. He even gave up drawing. Ram knew he had to help Ishaan regain his confidence. But how do you help a child find confidence again? In class, Ram gave an example. Take the famous painter Leonardo da Vinci. He had dyslexia. He always wrote sentences backward. Ram then held up a mirror to the board, and the sentence suddenly looked normal. Ishaan's eyes lit up. He had found something that interested him. He suddenly realized that someone people once called an idiot could actually be a genius. For the first time in a long while, Ishaan smiled. By the end of class, Ram told Ishaan privately, "You will shine someday." Ishaan regained his confidence. In outdoor art class, he no longer stared into nothingness. He picked up twigs and leaves from the ground and made a floating water wheel. Ram showed it to the class, and everyone applauded Ishaan's creativity. Ishaan bowed his head shyly. Ram saw that Ishaan was becoming more confident, so he began teaching him one-on-one. Ram helped him learn English words and tried to make studying fun. To teach Ishaan how to read, he wrote letters of the alphabet on Ishaan's arm so he could feel their shapes. Then he used different colors of paint to help him tell similar letters apart. To teach math, Ram wrote positive and negative numbers on the stairs and let Ishaan jump up and down to learn addition and subtraction. Each time, Ishaan got better. Ram played along with him, and Ishaan slowly began to love learning again. Through these creative methods, Ishaan started to appreciate every letter and number. His test scores improved. But that wasn't all. Ram organized a school-wide drawing competition and had a special plan for Ishaan. At that moment, Ishaan's father came to the school to speak with Ram. He told him he cared about Ishaan and hoped Ram wouldn't misunderstand him. Ram replied with a story. Once upon a time in the Solomon Islands, when the natives wanted to cut down a tree, they would gather around it and curse it loudly. Within a few days, the tree would die. Hearing this, Ishaan's father felt guilty. Ishaan was the tree, and he and his wife were the ones who had cursed him, turning a genius into what they thought was an idiot. As he left Ram's office, Ishaan's father saw his son standing in front of the school bulletin board, reading the drawing competition announcement word by word. Tears filled the father's eyes. On the day of the competition, Ishaan, who had never even known how to properly button his shirt or tie his shoes, cleaned himself up neatly. The little genius boy was going to his first art competition. When the competition began, all the teachers and students gathered to draw. Ishaan did not panic. He chose a lonely tree as his subject. Using the oil paints his brother had given him, he began to create. Ram joined in, drawing his own masterpiece beside him. Ram had also invited a professional artist to judge the competition. Ishaan finished quickly and handed his painting to Ram, and Ram was stunned. Ishaan's painting showed him sitting by the stream near the school, surrounded by trees, flowers, fish, and animals, all coming to life. When the judges announced the winner, Ishaan's name was called. The audience erupted in applause. Ishaan was so overcome that he stumbled on the stairs, and Ram rushed to help him. Ishaan received his first award. It wasn't just recognition of his talent. It marked a turning point in his life. Ram never gave up on him. He saw the light in Ishaan when no one else did. That day, the principal placed Ishaan's painting on the cover of the school brochure, honoring his achievement. Ishaan's parents were shocked and deeply grateful to Ram. At the end of the day, Ishaan stood in Ram's embrace, his spirit free at last. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you on the next video.